everybody's dancing backstage and you guys don't get to see it. We're all like, hi, everybody.
That's a jam.
Happy Tuesday. Time for another Tuesday night podcast. I am Kat, the nurse flipper. I'm joined by my co-host Rod, picking and punching. Below me is Cary from American Arbitrage, and Catty Corner is his better half, Dawn, Lady Arbitrage. They have been on before, so you should be familiar with them. If not, definitely check them out. I'm going to make them both big and let them introduce themselves and tell you where you can find them. And we have 20 questions already in queue. So if you want your question answered tonight, I would advise you get it in now. It's been, thank you, LaDonna. Okay. So Shannon, I will tell the truth. I do not know how to do this to my own face. Do not. Shannon came over, did my makeup and put some curls in for me. So thank Shannon. Everybody can thank Shannon. She's trying to make me be more of a girl, which I'm not very good at. If you know me in person, I'm jeans and t-shirts. Shannon's on a mission to change that. So thank you guys. I really do appreciate it. All right, here's Cary.
Hey everybody, I'm Cary, American Arbitrage cards. You can find me everywhere, mostly on Pinterest. That's where I'm spending most of my time nowadays. But no, I'm everywhere. I'm doing content. I'm at card shows. I'm going to thrift stores with Dawn. Dawn's the one typically finding the good stuff. I'm the one finding stuff we probably shouldn't buy. But yeah, me and Dawn have been doing this together for over 10 years. We had an auction house in Utah, and now we're on our way to Florida next week. So we're going to be in Rod's territory, but we're going to be no competition for him, so he'll be fine. Same with you, Kat. You're in Florida, so we're going to.
I am in Florida.
We'll be missing all the good stuff. You guys can have it. Dawn won't. I will.
All right, here's Dawn. Dawn, they would like to see the kitty. I don't know if the kitty is accessible. They're requesting to see the cat.
Sadie dog. Sadie.
Here she comes. Yeah, she loves attention. So.
Oh, there she comes. This is Sadie. So this is the one I got from my dad.
That's
when he passed away. This is I inherited him. There you go. My name's Dawn, Lady Arbitrage. I'm on Instagram, Facebook. I'm starting my long form when I get to Florida. TikTok, and I've been doing this probably since 2012, reselling. And I had a booth, I had a store, we've had an auction house, and now we just sell online. And you'll probably mostly see me in Cary's videos because he can't find anything, so I have to.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's perfect.
So, just so you guys know, combined, I mean, that's very modest the way they say they're on all these platforms, but combined, they have over 1 million followers for reselling, guys. Over 1 million followers. So if you have social media questions, if you have questions about reselling, this is going to be their last show from Vegas. I'm pretty much right. This is the last show from Vegas.
Unless we get really creative in the next couple of days and do another one. Yeah, this is the last show from Vegas.
Like, Don's over here shaking it now. Yeah.
All right, so I want to get this first. We had another really early super chat, which is absolutely amazing. I appreciate that so much. Titchy Farm Treasure said, thank you for the weekly education. It is always appreciated. You're very, very welcome. Thank you so much. And here you go. We also had a new member too. Oh, I have to tell you guys, I bummed out on Saturday's sourcing, and not on purpose. A, I didn't know what day it was, and B, Trish from List Perfectly ended me up 3 hours from home at a Mexican restaurant. And so I didn't get home in time, but I hadn't posted for people to sign up. So I will probably do one this weekend at some point. So I want to say sorry to my members. I didn't get any messages, but I'm calling myself out because that was kind of crappy. So, whoa, I'm printing things and not trying to. Titchy also joined the membership. I got to play my turtle because this is my favorite one, and then we're going to get to the questions. Here you go. Oh, look at Sohila. Sohila gave away 5 memberships. So 5 of you in the chat might have a membership now courtesy of Sohila. So Sohila, thank you so much. Here you guys go. Da, da, na, na. All right. Question time. Leticia is asking, and this is a really hard question. So if you have an item that you want to sell, but you can't locate it as far as sourcing, what would you recommend somebody do? And I talk about this all the time. You can want to sell whatever the heck you want, but if you can't find it, it doesn't matter what you want to sell. So what do you say to that question?
Well, I mean, the first thing that I would suggest is online. You can find a lot of great deals, especially like Facebook groups. There's niche Facebook groups for everything under the sun. I do my niche. Like, I mean, I can sell everything. I've done this for over 10 years, but as a lot of you know, I love sports cards. That's easy for me to do. I can go to sports card centric shops. I can go to sports card shows, which is what I did this weekend. And there's a lot of stuff like that available outside of the regular thrift store, flea market, garage sale scene that we're all familiar with. What do you think, Dawn?
Well, I'm kind of confused on the question. You mean if they're looking something up and can't find
Like,
out?
say she wants to sell vintage t-shirts, but she can't find them.
Oh, to buy them? Oh,
Yeah.
I would try every source you can. Thrift stores, flea markets. Maybe if you have social media, you can put the word out that you're looking for certain items. Basically, yeah, auction, whatnot. Dibbed it.
I think when you're new, though, I think when you're new, it's better just to branch out as much as you can. And then when you find the stuff you like, that's like a bonus. But try to learn as much as you can, so when you go out sourcing, you don't come home empty-handed.
So so I had this problem when I first started out because I was selling bobbleheads and like sports memorabilia at one point in time. And bobbleheads, I was doing a lot of I live in one of the meccas for spring training in Florida. So I was getting all the going to flea markets and going around the yard sales and buying bobbleheads and toys and video game stuff. But over time, that stuff started drying up. So I had to start expanding out what I want to do. But also too is when you start to expand and you can do something simple as walk around your house, find all kind of items you have, because you may find items that you don't know that you enjoy selling. So that's why we start with stuff that you have laying around the house first. Start trying to sell other things, but when you start going out and you start networking, tell other sellers what you sell, because you're going to find other sellers that sell stuff that you don't like to sell. And that's a good way to, share contacts. So over the years, I've built a network now around me where people will just pick up the phone and give me a call or send me text or send me photos. Say, hey, I got this in there. You're interested in this or this. So over time, it's a lot easier to find what those items I want to sell, but it does take time. You have to put the work in. It's just like if you were starting a business and you want to sell wholesale, you have to find the right wholesale suppliers. You just can't pick up the phone and just make a phone call. You got to put the work in. So same thing with reselling. You have to put the work in. You have to hit the payment. You have to go out there and make those contacts. But flea market's a great place to start because you find the sellers that sell the items you want, start networking with them, and that's a good way to start branching out.
Yeah, for me, that's why I don't sell any one thing, because I sell whatever I can find. And that's why I don't think I'll ever niche down, because I can't find enough to, sell just that one thing. So for me, I would just look for something else. I am going to read this next question and then I'm going to switch my internet because it's being a pain in the butt again. So if I freeze or disappear. Camille sent a $5 super chat. Thank you. I see a $10 one too with a question. So I'll put that one up and we'll read the question right after this. My internet is so horrible right now. I'm going to read this one from Kat. We will answer it, and hopefully I can get my internet switched over. Kat says she was asked to hold an item till Monday by a person who offered 5 very low offers, which none of them met her lowest offer acceptance. So what would you do? Person sent 5 low offers, and now they're asking you to hold it. Carrie, we can't hear you.
Oh, don't do it. I was on mute. Sorry. No, don't do it. Even if it met what your requirement was, I would never hold for anybody, because we just from years of experience of doing this, half the time that happens or more, the person never comes back and buys it. And then you may very well have people interested in the meantime. So I would tell them no. Me and Dawn do this all the time. We say we don't hold items for any reasons. Get back to us when you're able to buy it, and if it's still available, you can have it. Simple as that.
Yeah, when we had I wouldn't hold it. When we had a shop, we had that all the time. We used to sell on Facebook yard sale sites and right off our Facebook page. Unless it was paid for, it's not sold. Once it's paid for, it's sold. We went through that stuff all the time with people. Oh, we'll be in or whatever. Hold it for me. We did that kind of in the beginning, but then we learned don't do it unless it's paid for. It's not sold. It's available.
So look at your store. Is it this items in your store? Is it necessity items, or are these items that people can live without? Majority of the stuff that we sell are items that people can live without. So a lot of the times when people want to buy items, they're impulse buys. They may want it now, but if you try to hold it to when they have payday, and I get it, some people are just waiting to get paid to be able to get those items. But I just send them a message back, say, hey, sorry, we don't hold items. If the item is available on Monday, then you feel free to purchase it. Plain and simple. And hopefully that creates some urgency that they buy it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with everybody. I'm not holding anything that is my money. If somebody comes along that can actually pay for it, they're going to get it, because you never know if that person's going to follow through. And that's my money. It's how I pay my bills. And I do not hold. I actually used to hold for members and for viewers, and I got burned on that. I held stuff multiple times for over 2 weeks. People didn't pay. So now I don't even hold it for members because, again, it's my money, it's my income. And if I hold it without listing it for a member or a viewer, and I could have sold it and then they never follow through, I'm out that money. So I don't hold for anybody anymore. All right, let's do this question and then I'll get to Brad's installment. Oh no, I got to give her a thing. Hold on. I forgot your thing. Bad cat. Hold on. Let me put you back up here. Okay, what are we doing? Let's go to the beach with Dalton. Here you go. That clip makes me laugh every time because he's just like, yeah. All right. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, now the question, and then we'll get to Brad's installment. So what Leticia was, I think what she was meaning to ask, which I think what we told everybody was good information, but I think what she meant was like, if you can't find the exact item to comp it. So if you can't find exactly what you have, and she's wanting to know, and I think this is a good point to touch on too. She wants to know, does she add does she add the price she paid to it to comps?
When I can't find something that's like the exact item, I look for similar stuff. So let's say you find like an MCM statue or something like a mid-century modern item, and you can't find that exact brand, but it's a flower pot or whatever the heck it is. Look for something similar, and your best friend, in my opinion, on eBay is best offer. So put it as a buy it now, and then put best offer on it. And then if you start getting offers below, you can start to see maybe you overpriced it, but you can always go down in price. It's harder to go up. Also, you can continue to look on various different websites like Worthpoint, Terapeak, 130 Point for cards. There's a whole bunch of different places to see more historical long-term ranges in prices. But that's what I would do.
I agree with that. I would exhaust all my options on Google image search, eBay. You can pay for some of those subscriptions to like Worthpoint or something like that to see if they've ever sold it anywhere and then I would just go to similar. And then, like he said, OBO, because if it's way overpriced and you still have the option of somebody sending you an offer, that at least give you an idea of what someone would be willing to pay for it. You don't have to sell it, but if you get a lot of offers, you're probably way too low. So I would just put it up what you think was similar, and then do OBO just to see where it goes.
In OBO, she's meaning best offer, guys.
Yes.
Just so people don't know. But yeah, I'm the same way. I would say it's going to be very few and far between that you actually find items that you can't comp, because Google Lens is a great tool. If you actually you can use the app on your phone, Google Lens. You can download it, take a photo of it, and we'll search the internet. If you can't find it on eBay, you may be able to find something similar on like Etsy or one of the other sites out there. Do Google Lens. great tool I use all the time. I have Worthpoint, goes back 10 years of historic data. Peak on eBay can go back 3 years on historic sales of eBay items. And then there might be a one-off thing that you still can't find. And it just recently happened to me. It's actually going to be in my Flipper video tomorrow. But I had a Metallica New York Yankees sweatshirt. Never seen it before.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, never seen it. They did a concert in 2011, so it must have been from the concert. And I reached out to like other vintage sellers like Rally Roots, other people out there. No one else saw it. Couldn't find any comps anywhere. Google Lens couldn't find it. So I threw it up for $299 the best offer, and it sat there for months. And then someone just sent me an offer for $216. So sometimes you have those items, you just throw up a Hail Mary, you put up super high, and over time, and you get no offers on it, maybe a couple months, then you just drop the price down and end it sell similar, drop it down. But I mean, that's sometimes it's just how it works out.
Yeah, so I want to, like, if you can't find the price of the exact thing, then you of course can calculate in what you paid for it. I always try and find something similar. I agree with Rod, like that I'm going to price high if I think it might be rare, but I want to make sure that, if you can find the item, you cannot add the price you paid for it. You can only comp it at what people are willing to pay for it. Because if you say it's listed at $30, you paid $5. So everybody else has it at 30, you have it at 35 because you paid $5. Yours is going to be the last one to sell. So be very, very careful about that, because it really doesn't matter what you pay. It matters what the market is saying that they're going to pay for it. What you pay, you could pay more than it sells for, and that's on you. That's what really matters. All right, let's get Brad's installment. Brad, how much more money do you owe me? Is there interest? He really didn't owe me any money. I just went and dropped a super chat on their podcast, so he's paying me back. And saying hello. If you guys do not know, check out Brad over at Black Sheep Society. Let's see, what are we doing? We'll do. Mark might not show up tonight. He let me know, so I'm gonna give Brad Rod.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
Dude, that I'm a little bit upset about that.
Okay. Scott is selling his super chat. He paid $10 for this, and he's offering it for $20 if anybody wants to buy it. And to buy it, you send another super chat for $20.
I'll give you a sticker from my fanny pack.
What? You know what? Just because you did that, just because you said that, here you go.
Oh my God.
Wow, we need that. We need that for the podcast.
I gave them no warning.
Oh my God.
The retirement homes that watch Trash to Cash would love that. Oh my God.
Oh, speaking of Kevin, I listed 5 lots on Commons. I listed jewelry, so I did it myself. Shannon has been sick. She was sick today, so she couldn't come to work, but she did come do my hair and my face for me because she loves me.
You do Sony yet?
But no, none have sold yet. So if you want jewelry lots, I put up brooch lots over on Commons. They're like about 10 to 12 pieces. So go. Aaron, I know you're in the chat because you just messaged me on Instagram. Can you find the link to my Commons shop? Now I have a Commons shop. And we will be listing wholesale lots on Commons for you guys to buy. So definitely check that out. And Kevin now owes me $20.
And for those who don't know, Commons is from the Commonwealth Picker, Shop Commons. It's a website where you can buy wholesale. So especially in the wintertime right now coming up, well, a lot of you guys are in the Northeast and you guys can't go sourcing. It might be a good opportunity to actually go on there and buy wholesale lots. I know Don and Cary sold a ton of their stuff.
Oh yeah, I just sold. I posted a lot of cards last night, and it sold in like 2 hours. But like, I mean, I'm pricing it pretty aggressively, but we're moving. But still, like, I mean, it's done really well for us. It's an interesting platform, a good idea, kind of like a reseller to almost reseller marketplace. You know, if you're out going to garage sales and you find a bulk of something that you maybe don't deal with and it's a good price, you could buy it, you know, place it directly on Shop Commons, and somebody who deals with that might pay you, you know, more.
See, you guys know me so well. They knew I was going to give Scott Kevin. All right. Michelle wants to know, how do you go about writing off donations or broken items out of, she's saying she, like, when she's going to pull inventory to list it, she's finding broken and unsellable items. She doesn't have receipts for most because they came from rummage, garage, and yard sales.
Now, before anyone answers, we are not accountants, okay? Full disclaimer here. So we're not giving any type of tax or accounting advice, but we'll just let you know some stuff that we have done in the past.
With broken stuff, honestly, historically, we haven't really done anything with it. I mean, you can. That's definitely something you can do. And then, like as always, like right when we first started our business, or I first started my business, I got an accountant. It's somebody I've worked with for like, gosh, over 10 years now. So I would bring these kind of questions to them. They will tell you yes, no, what you need to do. That's the best way, like, because we can give you our opinions, but once again, like, we're not tax professionals, so I wouldn't listen to us, honestly, on that personally.
I agree. I would get an accountant for sure, but with broken items, I just throw them out. Unsellable items, I think everything's pretty much sellable. If I was at that point, I would go on Whatnot and start it at $1 if I really wanted to get rid of it and sell it. There's no, or lot it up with something, or go to commons.com or whatever. I think everything pretty much can be sold unless it's broken, then I would just throw it out. But when it comes to the tax purposes, I would get an accountant or something like that, since it is a business. It's just the safest way.
Yeah.
So if you want to donate items to either Goodwill or Salvation Army, they actually have someone there who will actually write you a handwritten receipt for items that you do donate, because I've done that in the past. And if I'm not mistaken, up to $250, you don't need an actual receipt, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not an accountant, so you know that's something you talk to your accountant with. But for me, I take it there. I have my accountant handle all that stuff for me.
Yep.
But for me, sometimes I don't even care. I just want the items gone. You know what I mean? Because I've already spent. Here's the thing: is when you buy the items, you spent money in the items. That's already a write-off for you for your business, because just cost of goods, you're buying those goods, and so that's going to be deducted from your taxes. But that's a conversation you just have with your accountant.
Yeah, so for me, I don't do anything with it because the standard deduction's like 20 grand, I believe. So unless you're donating or getting rid of over $20,000 worth of stuff, your standard deduction's $20,000 or close. I'm not an accountant, but it's high. It's high is all I'm telling you. And it is definitely a different Cary, and I appreciate that. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So,
It's true.
it is very true. So for me though, I do money in, money out. So it just, like, the standard deduction is more than enough for me, so I don't worry about it. All right, let's see. Kylie wants to know, what things have you had to call eBay for to have them to fix? So today she had to call and have them put her on the international shipping program. She said that they told her she didn't qualify, but when they checked, she actually did. So on the computer, it said she didn't. She called them, and now she has to wait 72 hours, and they're going to let her opt in. So have you had to call eBay to fix anything for you?
Oh, I avoid calling eBay like the plague. Oh my gosh, there's nothing less fun to do. And I'll be honest, I think most calls to eBay in general, there's some exceptions, are just a waste of your time as a reseller. You know, if you need to get one negative removed, negatives, in my opinion, aren't that big of a deal every once in a while. This is my hot take. And to get on the international shipping thing, I guess it's worth it. It just depends. To us, we haven't, I think, really sold much internationally for years, and it doesn't make much of a difference. But I think most calls I avoid, but in the past, it's been for feedback, extortion stuff, like where people would say, if you don't do this for us, we will leave you a negative, which is against eBay's rules, terms of services. At this point, unless it was happening a ton, I wouldn't even bother. I wouldn't waste an hour and a half of stress to deal with it. We did have something happen where, like, your maiden name, Dawn, do you remember that?
That was mine. I was going to say that.
Yeah.
I got a divorce, and I tried to change my name, and it was a nightmare to try and take it back to my maiden name, because I took my maiden name back in my divorce. I don't know how many people we talked to, and it took weeks. And then finally, which is crazy, we actually told him that he's American Arbitrage while we're talking to him. And then
Yeah,
he's
that
like,
helped,
oh my
actually.
gosh, oh yeah.
I pulled
blah,
a
blah, blah.
Kevin. I pulled a Kevin because Kevin always
it
introduces
worked.
himself as
I'm telling
Commonwealth
you.
Picker. It's
Do you know who I am?
Within minutes, it was fixed after we spent weeks. And I'm like, I had all of the paperwork. I don't know if you're going to be going through this or not, but I had to jump through hoops until you find and talk to the right person. Oh my gosh. But that's the worst nightmare I've ever had talking to eBay.
So, guys, the moral of the story is you have to call eBay. Just tell them that you're American Arbitrage, and you'll be good to go.
Yes.
Apparently so. So that's
Let them know that's you.
So, but for me, I actually recently had to call eBay when I had I sold a Sega Genesis system, and the buyer ripped my box. It was like a collector's box. Make a long story short, they ripped my box, sent it. It was a big ordeal. Sent it back to me, and I had to file an affidavit through eBay, and I had to get on the phone with them, and it was a long drawn out process. They had to send me over paperwork I had to fill out and everything else, and then so I can get a refund back, and then they took care of the buyer as well. But I try to, just like Cary, I try to avoid them as much as possible now. You can actually go through the online chat. Sometimes it's a lot faster and you can get stuff handled a lot quicker through their chat. But I try to not call eBay if I don't have to. And you can't even call anymore to get negatives comments removed, unfortunately. Unless
there's a website. I'm going to give it to you guys.
Yeah, there's a website
right now. I'll put it in the chat. There you go.
I can't see the chat. Can you send that to me?
Yeah, it's the website to get feedback removed.
Okay.
Yeah, just message me.
I got it, Dawn.
I can't see a chat. I don't know.
Well, Dawn, if you open up a second screen to your regular YouTube channel, you can actually see the chat then too. If you can't see it in StreamYard.
Dawn's a StreamYard newbie. I had to set it up for her.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what I'm doing.
No problem. Okay.
So I do not call eBay for any reason. I haven't called eBay in over probably 20 years. I use eBay for business on Facebook, and I use the website for removing feedback now, and I do not call them. I just don't have the time to deal with it, and I don't. But if I have to, I will tell them that I am American Arbitrage. I'll tell them on me.
Do it.
Dang it.
Yeah, you're Captain Nurse Flipper.
Because we talked to so many different places, and there's actually an eBay in Utah, and we finally got on the phone to somebody that was located in Utah. And when we were talking to them, that's when we told them, hey, we got all these followers, blah, 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 and it worked.
I just tell them I did a video on the most expensive teacups in the world that are on eBay, and they're like, oh.
500,000 views. Listen here, buddy.
I know, you're killing it.
All right. Miss Karen says she has a large Acoma pottery pot signed by N. Mansfield. Trying to find comps, even checked Worthpoint. There are smaller ones. She's asking if you have any suggestions. So if you couldn't find the same size, and I'll tell you, I sell a lot of Acoma pottery. So when this gets to me, I'll tell you my opinion on it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't know. Honestly, if you can't find any comps and you could find smaller versions of it, I would just ask more. And then I guess that's a pure feel thing. So I wouldn't know exactly how much more to ask without looking at it myself. But I'll leave that to somebody who knows more about it.
I personally don't know anything about that maker either. But on any other item, I would go with similar. And then you could even go with more and then OBO to see if somebody sends you an offer.
I just do a lot of OBO. OBO helps. Like you can go really high and just put best offer on and then let the market tell you.
I'll pass this one to Kat.
So I'm going to tell you something weird about Acoma pottery that I've learned over the years. And I have a large Acoma piece listed for about $350 right now. But a lot of times in Acoma pottery, the smaller pieces are more valuable. Mm-hmm. So I would probably price it very, very similarly if you're finding smaller ones by the same artist, because of my experience, tiny seed pots of Acoma will go for a couple $100. Like I said, mine is almost exactly that size, and I think mine's listed at $350. So I mean, you could always price high, like Carrie's saying, do OBO and let it sit there and see if you get offers, depending on if you're in a rush. Mine's been listed for a while. I love it. I like it on my display shelf. I don't care. It can sit there until the right buyer comes along. So it really depends on how fast you want to sell it as well. All right. Wendy wants to know, when do you take the time to include a video with your listing, and what type of items do you think you would make a video for?
One thing you could do, like I do video listings for Shop Commons. So that pretty much all my listings on Shop Commons are a video. As far as with eBay, we've never done a video for a listing on eBay. I don't think it's a bad idea, especially if there's condition issues on something that might be valuable, like say a piece of pottery or a Capa Diamante that's always chipped. Like if you had something like that, a video could be super practical. But in general, I try not to give, surprisingly, I try not to give myself any more work than needed. So if one or two pictures is enough, or one picture, that's all I do. It's about, I mean, at a certain level, when you want to grow, it's about streamlining the operation and producing more listings. So you can't be as picky about everything. So I would only use it in certain circumstances. Dawn?
I've never done video myself, but unlike Carrie, I take as many pictures as possible. I'm showing everything.
Such a waste of time.
He throws up 3 pictures and says arrives quickly. I'm
It
giving
does, because you're shipping it.
I'm giving measurements.
If I was shipping it, it wouldn't arrive quickly.
But I think the video thing's a good, if it's something very specific, or you need a close up or something, or even more, just for more. Here comes my cat. Even for more detail and stuff. But I just take as many pictures as they'll let me.
So for me, so I kind of agree with Carrie and Don, both you guys. I mean, depending on the item, sometimes I'll take an overabundance of pictures, but other times I try to streamline my process. So if I can get by with 3 or 4 photos of an item, I'm going to move on there. As it comes to videos, I have used videos in the past. It's when I have massive lots. So let's just say I have a lot of like 200 items I'm putting together. I can't take 200 photos of stuff. So it's just easier for me to lay everything out on the floor and go real fast, go through and as a video to show everything in that giant lot. Or if I'm doing some type of special electronic, you know, like an RC car, then we see the RC car working. If I'm doing, you know, if I had like a, you know, around Christmas time, you have like the singing, dancing, you know, like plushies that will move around and dance around. Like people want to see that stuff because if people see it and they see how entertaining it is, or if there's a big selling point to actually visually seeing it, I'll add that to my listing if it's going to help the selling price. If it's not going to help the price to sell or help it move fast, then I'm not going to put a video on there, only if I have to.
Yeah, so this is really funny because this is what I was going to say. Videos are required on Commons. Okay. So those listings I did today are the only videos I've ever done on a listing. So my answer, I can tell you when you should, and I will tell you I do not. I just don't put videos on listings. What I would make videos for would be the electronics stuff that moves, to show. There maybe some higher jewelry that might show better in a video. But I would say mainly stuff that has electronic components. So you've got proof that it's working, you know, especially like when it comes to returns, you can be like, look, there's a video in my listing. It was working. But I don't do it except for comments because I have to.
And just to clarify too, I'm not doing a video for an item that's $15-$20. I'm talking about the item that's going to be more expensive. You know, we're talking $50 or $100 or something, you know, more of an expensive item, because I'm not going to, for me, I'll just take pictures and say it works for a $15 item.
Yeah, no, price point's a good, definitely a good like point to make, because you don't want to take that time for those lower dollar items. You want to get those listed fast and not spend a ton of time. Who would like to take this to explain Poshmark? Why are people following me and sharing my stuff? And what is sharing my closet? Who wants to take? Who wants?
I mean, I've done Poshmark. I do it a little bit.
Yeah, why don't you take this one?
Okay, Poshmark is kind of like a social. It's kind of like Instagram in the sense it's kind of social media based. So you're sharing, you're interacting. They're encouraging you to share other people's closets. That's kind of how their algorithm works. It's annoying. I don't like it. I don't really use it. So my advice on Poshmark is don't Poshmark.
Listen, I'm going to look right now. Hold on. My sales on Posh have been on fire. Like, and when I say like, I mean like legit. Hold on, I'm looking.
What are you
So-
How do
selling?
I see?
I have like
What are you
over
selling?
5,000 followers on Poshmark. I just don't ever.
Hold on, I'm going to
use it
share
much.
my screen. I'll show everybody. Look. So, look, with
Wow.
$1,300, like, look, we're having $200 days on Posh, 180, 170, like, and this is not, the month's not even over. This is just for October. Like, so, I mean, I've sold a lot of $150 items. Dawn, it's been all over the place. Some of it's clothes, like your standard stuff you'd expect on Posh, but also housewares, linens, which I love picking up. Like I sold napkins, tablecloths for good money, like all kinds of stuff. So as far as Posh, I use a bot. I don't do any of that stuff. And I guarantee you the majority of people on Posh are using bots. So List Perfectly has a sharing tool inside of List Perfectly, and I use One Shop. They will share and follow and blah, 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 blah. And they send offers out for me, which is how I make most of my sales. So that's why I'm willing to pay for it. It's only like $30 a month, and it's how I get most of my sales. So it started as like a social media thing, but then it became like this daunting task that nobody wants to do. But now you can share your closet with just one button, which is nice. But I still just use the bot.
Oh.
The cat is back.
Sorry.
No, mine come in here sometimes. They haven't been here in forever though. So Titchy says 8 months reselling, top rated. Oh, we already talked about this. Never mind the international shipping. And so it sounds like a lot of you guys might need to call eBay for that if you really are wanting into the international shipping program, because it sounds like that worked for somebody. So I would try calling.
That's definitely worth a call, because once you get in there, that increases your market share, and you can actually get more sales. And once your items ship to eBay shipping center, it's out of your hands. They handle the whole international part for you.
All right. Miss Cindy wants to know, how do you ship ephemera like magazines to keep them from being bent? I have some vintage Barbie catalogs, etc. I'm listing, and I'm not sure the best way to ship.
There's a couple ways to do that. There are like mailers, specifically like rigid cardboard mailers for like magazines. I do technically ephemera with sports cards. So there's rigid plastic holders that go all the way up to like 5x7. So those could even work for a lot of different things. They might not be cost efficient though. And also like for comic books in the past, we've bootstrapped it, me and Don, we've cut up cardboard boxes and put a magazine that was valuable or something in between pieces of cardboard and then put it in a mailer. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to do it. But there's also like a lot of good ephemera sellers on YouTube that you can get some really good insight on how to ship that stuff effectively.
All ephemera I put inside a clear bag first to make sure it doesn't get wet. And then we put it between cut up cardboard, or you can get the special boxes for it or whatever. But I make sure it's well sturdy with lots of cardboard, painter's tape, so I don't use the other tape that sticks to anything. And then put it inside, depending on how much it is and what it is. I make sure that goes inside a box after I put the cardboard. If not, then it goes in a bubble mailer, depending on what size it is. And then I just make sure it's taped up really well.
So I sell a ton of ephemera, from like comic books to magazines, a lot of stuff like that. There's a box called a Gemini. It's meant for like comic books and magazines. I put books in it. It folds down and it gets like completely flat like this. Don made two good points though. I went on Amazon. I bought clear bags, 9x12s, and I also have, I think, 17 or 13x17, I think, or something like that for the bigger one. Anything that's bigger than that. But I use that every time I sell clothing. I put clothing pre-bagged and then I put it in there. But I bag all my ephemera before I ship it, because if the post office leaves that box on someone's porch and that box gets wet, that will ruin the ephemera inside there. So you guys want to make sure you protect what's inside the box, especially with ephemera. It's very important. Also, too, she made a great point about using painter's tape. She's
The star of the show.
The star of the show. We're about to see a star, right? That's for sure.
Nobody's going to even listen to me. They're going to be looking at the cat.
Sorry.
You guys need to, if you guys are shipping anything with cardboard, paper, anything like that, please use painter's tape, because painter's tape does not leave a residue and it does not pull off like the paper and stuff like that. I can't tell you how many times people have shipped me like a cardboard box, like an old school Nintendo box, and they use regular tape, and then you go to open it, it damages the actual item. So if you guys are shipping, I use painter tape. Majority of the time, I don't use packaging tape for my items inside my box. Painter's tape works great.
Yeah, so I'm just going to repeat a lot of what you already heard. We will put, like, we keep, if you can, I mean, those are our boxes, but in between there, like, anytime we trim a box down, we keep that cardboard, because I don't want to cut up, you know, cardboard unnecessarily. And like Amazon boxes and stuff, make sure you're cutting up free cardboard is what I'm trying to say, or keep scrap cardboard. So we will sandwich it in the cardboard, and then we will put it in a poly, and then depending on price point, I will put it in either like if it's more expensive, I'll put it in a padded poly. But if it's like a $10 brochure or something, I'm just going to sandwich it in cardboard and put it in regular poly. I'm not even going to bother spending the 60 cents on a bubble mailer. And I haven't had any problem with that. They're sending cat food money.
There we go.
The Trash to Home Kitty podcast.
There we go.
Wolfman. All right, let's answer his question, then I'll give him something. I'm not sure what yet. I don't have a kitty cat. I don't have a kitty cat. I need Gino. We need a kitty cat. Super chat. So what items do you not like listing?
The first thing that came to my mind, I mean, I like this kind of item, but it's a pain to list a lot of times, is like posters. So if you want to show like a vintage poster, like I've literally been outside with like rocks to hold each corner and then taking photos from above, which is not the most efficient way to do that. I don't like electronics in general as a reseller, just because of a long tenured history of just not like missing something when I test. I'm not a thorough tester. I'm not an electronics kind of person. So like I'm missing, like I'll send a VCR, you know, a VHS, what are they called? VCR players. And like something's wrong. They'll say something. I didn't even know it was a function that the VCR did, let alone how to test it. Like that, this isn't right. And I'm like, oh man. So that's why I like cards. I can look at a card and I can tell you if it's in good condition or not. I mean, comics are like that. You can look at a comic and get a general idea. There's nothing it does electronically. So that's what I don't like. Dawn, how about you? Cards? You don't like cards, do you?
Oh, I don't list cards. I love shipping them though.
They are easy.
Clothes. I hate listing clothes. If I do clothes, I'll take the pictures and I'll put the measurements in the picture, because Cary doesn't like to. He'll take one picture of the shirt and then it's done.
Like it's a large. What else do you need to know?
I do close up. I'll do the measurements on the picture. So I'll spend a whole day doing nothing but clothes, and then I'll send him all of the pictures. I absolutely hate doing clothes.
So I love buying clothes. I love selling clothes. I just hate listing clothes. So all my clothes I take to my mother-in-law, and she just takes the pictures and measurements for me and creates a draft. And so that's the only thing I don't list myself. And then I put the pricing in and list it on eBay. Over the years, though, I mean, you find what I like selling. I'll tell you one thing. I like selling big items, because a lot of people will pass those up at yard sales. So because I think big items are super easy to ship and stuff like that. I just hate items, though, when I have to like Frankenstein like 4 boxes into one. And then it's one of those things I enjoy buying it. And then once I have to ship it, I hate it, because it just it takes a long time to ship. So glassware, that's one thing I don't like. I dislike listing glassware, because I know how much time it's going to take me to ship out glassware.
I dislike listing, period. That's why I pay somebody to do it. I don't like, I listed the lots on Commons today. But I don't list anymore. I don't hide that. I don't want you guys, like, I have a full-time employee. That's her job. She lists. I get to do the fun part of buying and making videos thrifting. And I do have to price things, and I do have an amazing amount of things that I need to price. I am a little behind. So I am the only one who prices everything and makes the listings active. I will tell you, she hates listing clothes. So she hates when I go to dollar close day at the thrift store, like I just did 2 weeks ago, and come home with like a car full of clothes because they were $1. But yeah, so that's what she hates. All right, what are we gonna do? I don't know. Let's do some mermaid. We're doing mermaid. That one's courtesy of Yvonne Thrifty Rich, if you guys did not know that. Am I coming Friday? Yes, I am going thrifting Friday, and then my plan is to meet Rod for lunch, I think, is what I'm doing on Friday. That is what I'm doing on Friday. Are you coming, Marcia? Shannon's coming, and Elena's coming. We're going to have a party on Friday. You guys can try and find us. We will be at all of the Key Training thrift stores. You got to, if you pay attention to me, you would know my order. That's all I'll say, if you pay attention. So it will be me, Marcia, Elena, and Shannon thrifting all day. And then myself and Shannon are going to meet Rod for lunch.
Did you just say, hey, stalkers, come on, stalkers, come find me now.
Come find me.
Know my routine. Come find me.
It's like, you know, I have a gang with me though. Like I have support. It's not just me, right? Like, yeah. All right. Speaking of Elena, her question just happened to be up in the lineup, which is who I'm going thrifting with Friday. Elena wants to know, what do you think is the best rate to promote items on eBay? Do you do the suggested rate? And if so, why?
Oh, no, I don't do the suggested rate. I don't know if I trust the suggested rate a lot of times from eBay. But I typically, when I list, I like to promote things just a little bit. Like I put typically like 2%, 2 to 5%, just so there's a bump if it's needed. But in general, I'm really cautious with that because I feel like over the last couple years, it's really started to eat into the bottom line. Like a lot of the suggested rates, I feel like 15% or more. And when you're starting to deal with that, it's not even worth it. You might as well just, I don't know, sell it at a garage sale at that point rather than having that and the fees on top of it. So I usually just do it a little bit. And then in general, it's about what you're looking for. If you're buying, you know, NBA 2K25 that just came out, there's going to be a lot of competition. But if it is like a piece of rare pottery or a rare sports card, there's going to be less competition. Therefore, no real need to promote it because it should have a market and less competition, if that makes sense.
I promote pretty much 5% on most things, depending on how much I'm asking for the item. If it's $15 or something like that, I don't promote it. If it's, $30, $50 or something like that, I do 5%.
So for me, I try to price my items around market price. So if you have an item that has a fast sell-through rate, you really don't need to promote that much. I usually promote my items like between 2 and 4% majority of the time.
Yeah, so I promote everything at trending, but I cap at 10%. And trending on a lot of things is higher than 10%. And that's because I buy so low, I have the room to do it. And I prefer to just do it the same across the board. So mine is trending, capped at 10%. They're telling on you, Rod.
I know.
Yeah, Scott, you should see what happens. I think you like giving stuff away, my friend. Why not?
You ever see the episode there? Rally Roots did a video where they did
that click thing?
The click thing. And then the cost of clicking was actually going to be more than what the item was actually listed on eBay for. Because they did that click to promote at one point in time. Yeah, that didn't work well.
All right. Sarah sells smalls by the seashore. You got to add that. Like, eventually you're going to listen to me and add that to your name. Do you pressure yourself to work more on your business because the work is at home? I have a full-time job and I'm working 6 hours after my day job because I believe in this.
Oh, we're full-time, so there's a lot of pressure to be working a lot of the time. We do several things that are, monetizable, not just eBay and whatnot. We're doing content. So I feel like, and I've been full-time since I graduated from college. So you're always working, I feel like, in this business. It's actually, you have to really pressure yourself. At least I have to put some pressure on myself to just chill out and like not feel bad if I do something that isn't work related for a while. And part of the problem is I love what I do, like picking, sourcing, even listing. I enjoy my job. It's kind of a hobby in a weird way. So it's hard to do. But if you're working full time, if you're trying to maybe get out of working full time, I can get that pressure because you want to work as many hours as you can so you can do something different or make the extra money you need.
I worked full time, and then we also ran a shop, and then I did deliveries and I did furniture. So I barely sleep. I honestly feel like this isn't even a job now that I do it full time. So I do have to sometimes make myself go and do things, because you do kind of get in a rut here and there, and you think, oh, I've already done this today and I've already met my goals. You could do a little more, but then you think, I'll just start again tomorrow and go see a movie or something. But you have to also give yourself some time to relax. But you change your 9 to 5 to a 24/7. And that's so true, because especially when you do social media, our phones are going off all night with comments and this and that. And people are texting us, and it's all night long. eBay's going off. People are sending him messages. I mean, it's just all night. But I don't know. I think working after your regular job, if this is what your goal is to become full time, go for it. If it's going to make it happen, it's well worth it.
Sarah, I was you when I had a full-time job. I mean, I've been reselling eBay for 25 years, but I really wanted to leave my job, and I had a good paying job. I was doing medical sales for many years, and I was just tired of the grind and wanted to get out of doing sales. And I would wake up hours before I had to go to work just so I can get listing done. I would do listing on the clock at my job because I was able to work from home and do sales on my breaks. Every time I'd be on the phone doing sales, and I'd be listing on eBay because I had a bunch of drafts or pictures taken. I know Kat was doing the same thing when she was nursing there. And then after work, I would put in a ton of hours in there, because the pressure for me at that point in time was I was trying to get myself to a point where I can walk away from my job. Then when I was able to walk from my job and do this full time, I practically had 2 full-time jobs. But when I walked away to do this full time and get rid of my regular income I had, then it was a different type of pressure. That pressure was, I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I get to spend all my day with my pets, my dogs, my cats. I get to work for myself, make my own schedule. I'm there for my stepson. Whatever he needs, whatever my wife needs, she works as a nurse at the hospital. So for her schedule changed each week. So having this job gives me the flexibility. So now the new pressure on me is that I don't want to go back to getting a regular job. So it's a different type of pressure, because I love what I do and I don't want to lose that lifestyle, what I do, and I think the only piece of advice I give to a lot of people is, you look at your daily sales, and, if you break it down by per day and you have a couple bad days, that puts on so much extra pressure on you that you don't really need to. So, always take a step back, look at it from, okay, what do we do this week? Okay, what are we doing this month? And that way that helps take off some of the pressure, because if I have a really good week the previous week, okay, this week's going to be slower, a bad week. Oh, it's okay. Like, for example, we just hit with back-to-back hurricanes in Florida. My sales have been in the tank this month, but I looked okay. My previous month was good, so, and I'm coming in the fourth quarter, traditionally looking back at the history of my sales the previous years, my fourth quarter has always been my best. So I can take a step back and take a deep breath. Okay, it's going to be fine, and just keep doing what I do.
Yeah. So I try and tell people this all, I work 24/7. My phone is my work. Social media, I get paid for, and I saw the comment saying, turn the phone off. I don't want to turn my phone off. I like responding to comments. Now I'll tell you, if I'm doing something with the kids or something like that, my phone is staying in my pocket. I'm not looking at it, but I'm not going to turn it off. And I think for me, one of the biggest reasons that I grew, I still respond to every single comment on both of my channels. Every single comment. If you comment on my channel, you're going to get me or my daughter, one of us, responding to you. She has started helping me, but Rod's right. Like, I was working on my lunch hour. I had a baby. I had a 1-year-old at that point. Dalton was 1. He's 6 now, but he was 1. And I knew I wanted to be home with him. Now I know I want to stay home with him, right? Same thing Rod said. Like, I pick him up from school every day. I take him to school every day. I have the luxury of I go to the gym every day. You know, I can work when I want to work. Like, if I want to get done here at 10 o'clock and go do some work while Dalton's asleep, I can do that. So if your goal is wanting to go full time, you have to put in a lot of hours to build that up to get it to the point where you're comfortable quitting. And for me, I quit before I was ready because I got pissed off, like, and said, screw this, and walked out. And I have always been the type of person, if I'm not happy at a job, I'm not staying there. Like, if I don't want to go to work, something is wrong. So I said I don't like listing. I would list if I had to list, but I am blessed enough. I built my business up enough. I can now delegate out what I don't want to do. And anybody could do the same thing if you build it up enough, you know. And like all of us on the panel, we have multiple streams of income. We are getting paid for our content. We're getting paid for our sales. I'm hoping to start back up live selling. We are starting commons. That hopefully will be another stream of income for us. And so that's the pressure, is wanting to be here. Plus, I love it. I love what I do. I love teaching. I love helping. That's why I do it, you know. So I don't want to ever turn the phone off. I want to help, you know. So yeah. Yeah, goals, hire a lister. I mean, it can very easily be a goal, you know, but you really have to have your sales and your profits where it makes sense.
But also too, guys, it's not, you don't have to hire someone full time. You don't have to even hire someone as a part time. You can just hire someone as you need. Like my mother-in-law, like she'll pick up a tote and then she takes it to her house and she just lists it in her free time. You know what I mean? It's not something I need listed right away, but it does help out the business, you know, that little bit. I know people that hire people just to help them ship items during the fourth quarter because, you know, they have those heavy ship days on Monday, and those couple weeks right before the holidays, they hire one of the family members to come over and help them pack the items. That goes a long way because it frees you up to be able to expand your business and do other things. So don't be afraid to just dabble with that too and try it out.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Vintage Saver says, item sold, was lost in the mail, refunded the buyer. Item now delivered to buyer. Can I ever get my money? Buyer said package not there, but it shows delivered. So I think there's a few points to touch on this one.
I mean, you could have insurance on your item possibly if you purchase that, but I think your best bet, and it's hard, especially when you don't sell a ton of stuff or you're a newer reseller, but honestly, your best bet is to let it go and not waste your time. I mean, if it's a massively expensive item, it might be worth your time. But I mean, we've had with things many times where things like this has happened, and it's just not worth the time and effort. It's just not worth your time or effort to try to fix it, especially in this particular situation. Consider it a loss and move on unless it's like thousands of dollars. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I have to agree with him. I would just, I would just, depending on what it is and how much it was sold for, I would just let it go too. This has happened to us before. I've already refunded them. And at this point, you know, it is what it is. But if it shows delivered, then we don't care. We just let it go because eBay will side with us most of the time, pretty much always if it shows delivered. But we've had it where they said it didn't and it said delivered. I'm not worried about it. But I'd let this one go. But depends on what it is and how much money we're talking about.
So first rule of thumb is do not just issue a refund to the buyer without having the buyer open a case on eBay. Make sure you guys go through the proper channels first and foremost, because when the buyer does open a case on eBay, you have official case open, you still have a 3 to 5 day window that you can wait to the very last day to respond to that case. That's what I always do, because it buys me extra time to see if that item maybe pops up, it gets found. Also, too, if they do give you, say eBay does make you issue a refund back to the buyer at that point in time, you can contact the buyer and say, hey, if that item does arrive, can you please refuse the package? So I sold an Xbox, what's the newest Xbox? Whatever the newest Xbox was, I sold it on eBay for like $500 or $600 during COVID time, and because of all of the backups of how like mail was all backed up, my package got lost. My Xbox got lost for over 3 months, and the buyer filed a claim on eBay. We went through the proper things. Buyer then opened up a credit card dispute, so that I lost the money for that item, and I went to the Postal Service website. You can actually put in your phone number, so if the tracking does move, it would actually text message you or email you if that package does move. So you can always, if that package magically appears, like I don't know, like months later or anything, like my situation, 3 months later, I got a text message saying that my package was en route. So I literally reached out to the buyer and said, "Can you please refuse the package because you've already got the money back?" Buyer was super cool about it. He actually refused the package, and I had to pay for the return shipping, but I was still able to get my item back. So if you guys ever run into that situation, go to the Postal Service, make sure you file a missing package, and then put in your contact information so you can get an immediate update if it is found.
Yeah, so I agree with Rod. You definitely don't refund right away. You want to put it off until the last day where eBay is going to make you refund it, hoping that item comes. And I do the same thing. When I send the refund, I put a note in. When this item gets to you, please refuse it because you have not paid for it. And at least appeal to their sense of having morals, which some people don't. Some people don't have them. But some people do. So at least appeal to that. That is what I do when I end up having to refund it. But most of the time it shows delivered. They say it's not. I put in the tracking and the case is closed and they don't get their money. That's how it works most of the time. My good friend Leroy Blood Sweat Cell said this is his favorite couple on YouTube. Thank you. I think
Thank you.
Leroy deserves
Thanks, Leroy.
Kevin. Here you go.
Leroy's too nice. That's wonderful.
What'd he say?
Never gets old, does it?
Can you please have Kevin? See, there we go. I knew what he wanted. Surprise, surprise. All right. My flipping banker says, can you please explain the difference between district and whatnot?
Yeah, that's a good question, honestly. Nowadays, with them both getting bigger and bigger, Whatnot is a live selling platform that you can go on and do live auctions, right away. If you get approved and everything. District's slightly different, where it could be either, people who have a following can start a district and you can sell kind of within their district, or like-minded people. So I'm in a district right now that's women's soccer cards. So it's not run by somebody who's like an influencer. It's just somebody who's a fan of soccer cards. So he opened that up, and then people can come in and sell there. The cool thing about district as opposed to Whatnot is there's some things that are similar on district and Whatnot, but there's some things that are very different. If you know what Discord is, especially with sports cards, people will go on Discords and trade and buy and sell. It's kind of like a private message board. District has that feature, like a Discord message board feature. It also has static sales like eBay. You can go on and post, something for a certain buy it now amount, kind of like Shop Commons, or you can go live like Whatnot. And what it is it's just basically like micro groups, like Dibbed It, which is the one that I'm a part of, is just the stuff me, Kevin, and Dave love. So it's pop culture stuff from the 80s and 90s and sports cards. Simple as that. There's other ones like, the Crazy Lamp Lady has knickknacks, which is just the kind of stuff she digs, which is, vintage, like paperweight stuff like that. I don't even go on there, but lots of cool stuff. So that's pretty much the difference. Whatnot is basically only live selling, and they're starting to do buy it nows as well. So, Dawn,
Yeah,
what do you think?
I think it's exactly like Cary. District is basically just smaller groups together, but it's kind of the same concept of Whatnot. There's some things I like about District more than I do Whatnot, and that's when you do go live on your YouTube or something while you're selling, you can actually see the comments from YouTube on District. That's when you're doing it on Whatnot, it's kind of hard to sit there and watch two phones at the same time while trying to pay attention to your auction going on. Other than that, I feel it's pretty much the same, except for Districts like a bundle of certain things, each like little stores built into one, and Whatnot's just a whole bunch of people on different categories. But it's basically the same thing when it comes to the buying part and the selling part.
So they both have a static marketplace. They both have live auctions. They both have regular auctions on there. But there are some slight differences between the two. So if I go on Whatnot, I have to build my own following on Whatnot to get people to come to my shows. The cool thing about District is Cary, Kevin, and Dave already have their own following. So if I go live on there, it can send out a message to everyone who's part of that district. They can send out a message, hey, I'm going live that night. It will message everybody who's part. Say there's how many people you have in your district, in your divot?
Like almost 5,000.
Almost 5,000. So all 5,000 people will get a notification saying that we are going live. So that's one big advantage about the smaller district marketplace. The second big advantage is on Whatnot, you can co-host. So me and Kat can go live together on there. But if I'm selling my items, Kat can show my items, but it's only one seller's items that you guys can actually show. So even if Kat's selling the items, I would have to send her a shipping label for her to mail out those items because it'd be under my account. On District, if say me and Kat want co-hosting with each other, we can both sell our own items at the same time. And the cool thing is, like on Divot, when like Cary and Kevin and Dave go live, they just allow people who don't have a following to jump in their streams. And now you can actually use their audience to start selling items. So that's huge right now, especially if you never sold live before. So instead of having a lot of people don't have the courage to go live, or a lot of people think they're going to mess up. So to go live and just, I know Kevin's starting to do something like these little small things where he's going to go live for like 2 hours, and he doesn't allow people who never sold before jump in and do like 4 or 5 items, just get the hang of doing a live, which is super cool. So that's another big thing too. The biggest takeaway though from District over Whatnot is if I do a show on Whatnot, I can only ship out those items for that one show. Okay, you get progressive shipping for that show only. I can do a show on District Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I can wait the Friday to ship out my items, and you will get combined shipping on all those shows.
There's so many. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, dude, but there's so many little things like the District is doing that I think Whatnot will probably co-opt at some point that are really brilliant. I love the idea on District where you can be doing the dual lives, but you can go back and forth. So somebody can sell one item, then you can sell one item, then you can, and it's going to each one of your stores back and forth. People can combine their following, or they can obviously go on with any of us and hopefully get some of our following to buy from them as well. It's really cool, honestly.
And then the last thing is on District, you buy your own shipping labels, okay, which is huge. That's so just like eBay. So if I sell an item in there, you pay me for the shipping and for the item. On Whatnot, you pay Whatnot for the shipping, and you pay Whatnot for the item, and I only get the money for the item. So like I can issue refunds on District. I can't do that on Whatnot. Whatnot takes all the money for shipping because they make money off shipping. On District, the individual, just like eBay, takes the money, and that's huge.
Yeah, I think everybody covered it. And I think also just having dealt with District mainly through knickknacks, but now I joined Commons with Kevin. District is very, very receptive to our thoughts. And they really take the feedback and they will do something with it. Like the multi-seller, I know like now they have the Android app. You can't do everything on it, but they do have it finally. But they are in my experience, they have been very, very receptive to feedback and actually listening to that stuff.
Yeah, they really are.
One of my favorite people. Siggy. Miss Siggy says, I sold an item. USPS got to their address. The building is vacant. Now what? I guess USPS is sending it back to me. I tried to reach the buyer through eBay email and nothing.
That's a good question. I mean, I would wait, just keep emailing the buyer, try to do that at least until the item comes back, because eventually at some point I would imagine the buyer's going to get a hold of you and say the item didn't arrive. They're going to go check their messages to message you, and they're going to see what happened. So I would just do that, and at least for the foreseeable future, just basically just keep trying to message them and put the item to the side. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's happened to us. That's exactly what we did. We messaged, and we just held on to the item, and they eventually did contact us.
Yeah, sometimes it could be a while too.
It was a couple of months, and then we sent it. Same thing. It came back saying that change of address or wasn't a known address or something, and we held on to it. And about 2 months later, and we sent a refund.
So if you already contact the buyer, they're not responding, you did everything in your power. You shipped the item to them, the item's getting shipped back to you, you got it, you reached out to the buyer. At that point, there's nothing else you can do. I just put the item to the side. Hopefully the buyer reaches out to me in the future. If not, I'll eventually probably just relist it and call it a day.
Yep.
Yeah, so you guys might think this is wrong, but
I saw you smiling over there. I knew something was coming. I saw you giggling over there.
I have had this happen and they never contact me, and I just kept the money and relisted the item. I mean, like, maybe people buy so many things they don't know that, that they didn't get something. That could be the case. I don't know the case, but if they don't contact me and ask for their money back, I'm not giving it to them. And I did hold the item for probably about a month, but I didn't refund them, and they never asked. And I think they even left me positive feedback. I am so not kidding. I am so not kidding. They left me positive feedback. They never got it. I never refunded them. I don't know what the deal was. I'm not complaining. I've had people like buy more than one of something, and I don't like, it's weird. Anyway, so for me, you messaged them, you get the item back. I would wait a few weeks and then I would relist it. I would not refund, which some people might say is wrong, but if they're not asking, I'm not giving.
Listen, you put in all that time, you list that item, you shipped it out, you try to reach out the buyer. At that point in time, you did everything in your power. Like, you're going to be compensated for your time and your effort.
Yeah. All right. Repeat question for Rod. This was asked when you were out, when Leroy was filling your shoes. Please explain your time away vacation mode strategy. I'm going on an 8-day bingo cruise. That sounds fun.
Wow, I would do that.
Trying to decide whether to pay the money for the internet on the bingo cruise. So what is your strategy? They wanted to specifically hear yours.
Yeah, so what I normally do, so like when I went to Europe or if I go on vacation, stuff like that, what I would normally do if it's 8 days, so weekends don't count as shipping days. All right. So if you're going on an 8-day cruise, you're gonna hit a weekend in there. I put my store in time away, so I'd probably put it on like I put it on for like whatever time away mode, and then depending on what day you're getting back, usually 2 or 3 days before I get back from my actual vacation, I take it off vacation mode at that point in time. Or, well, actually, let me take that back. I first thought I would extend my shipping time to like 5 or 7 days. That's what I would normally do. I would extend my shipping time to 7 days, and then probably like day 5 or 6, I would move it back to my regular 2 to 3 day shipping. So that's what I would do. And if someone would buy anything off there, you can, if they message you, like, hey, if you haven't noticed it, I actually had 7-day shipping on right now. You may have not seen it. I'm currently on vacation, but I will ship your item first thing back when I get back on this date. And usually people are super cool about it. And I always tell them if someone buys something, they send me a message like, hey, if you want me to refund it, I did have this time on there. No problem. I can just issue a refund. But I would say 95% of the time people are super cool and they're like, just wait, you're good to go. So that's normally what I do when I go on vacation.
But it sounds like from what you're doing, though, she's going to need the internet to do that, to do those changes.
So you can pay for the internet for 1 day on a cruise. You don't have to pay for the entire time. So if you wanted, that's up to you if you want to do that. But I would actually set it. Yeah, actually, I just realized that for the internet. Because normally when I go, I have my internet with me all the time. So that would be something you would have to pick and choose if you want to do.
Or just wait till you get home, and then you're just going to have a few days to ramp it back up. But.
Unless if you're on a cruise that stops in a port or anything like that, when you get off and when you're in a port, you can actually get off the ship.
Hotels probably have Wi-Fi and stuff, right?
Oh, it depends. Well, it depends what type of cruise. So if she's going on a cruise that you're staying on the ship for 8 days, you're going to stop in port at probably 1 or 2 different places, at least for the day. And then what I would do is you can quick get off the ship, and you can actually adjust stuff on your phone if necessary. But
all right. Miss Lisa sent a $5 super chat and said her auto feedback has turned off several times, and I just had all my new listings changed to no returns, and I never change one. So she just wanted to let everybody know. So maybe check that. A lot of times I find out by mistake, you know, like somebody will tell me or ask me something, and I'm like, what is going on? So I don't know if there's a way to deal with this. Other than if you notice, you just go fix it. We can kind of go around. Maybe if anybody has any tips on this.
It sounds like Kryloff to me. That's something that Kryloff would probably be doing, the eBay algorithm. I'm just joking. I have no idea. But really, I don't know why it would change it to no returns other than it just being a glitch. But feedback being turned off and on, I mean, I think those things are probably honestly just glitches. You just have to check and make sure that that doesn't happen, which is hard to check things if you don't know they're happening. You kind of have to wait until somebody alerts you or you notice it. That's the problem.
done.
Oh.
Any thoughts, Don?
Not really. They've been
Okay.
used to
That's
basically.
me too.
Yeah. I would just say, I mean, you can just every once in a while just do a check on your store. I mean, I always try to check on the health of my store every once in a while. Make sure, just maybe do a spot check. Just pick random listings and check it. If you go into your active listings in your My eBay, you can actually search. You can actually there's a drop down and see how many times, like if you have shipping on, if you have, you look at your return policies. You can look at your shipping times, your handling times. So you might want to just do that every once in a while just to see if there's anything changed. You can search from like oldest, the newest, and newest, oldest, and then see if anything adjusts or changes in there.
Nope.
All right. Let me give her super chat. I talked before. What? I'm going to do the pillow fight because I did the beach earlier. Here you go.
No.
Brooke and Dalton didn't come in here and tell us goodnight. They better be in bed. Those little suckers. All right. Let's see. Karen with the C says, I bought a Michael Kors bag for $10 at St. Vincent de Paul. I did a quick lookup and sold comments are 100 to 120. I did a few checks. Did we miss part of this question? Because I don't see the question. This was a while ago too. I don't know if we can find it. Karen, let us know. I don't think I can scroll back that far. Karen, if you're still in here, let us know your comment or your question, and I'll watch the chat for it and pick it up. Teacher Treasure Chest said, how many Veros is too many on eBay?
17. No. Honestly, I mean, you got to be careful not to get any Veros because there's no, as far as I understand, there's no a set rule on when they could technically suspend you for a Vero violation. But from what I understand, kind of just, through the grapevine is you have one, they'll warn you, then you have another one, then you might get like a 3-day, and then it'll kind of escalate up. But I think if you're, realistically getting more than a couple, you need to worry. Vero's so annoying too, because it's hard to kind of educate yourself on all of the things that are potentially Vero'd, and sometimes you just don't know. So just be careful. I for one, for a lot of years was probably too careful with that kind of stuff. I did not like to list any like Dawn knows this. I didn't like to list anything Nike in general, even though Nike is completely fine to list, especially used. I stayed away from a lot of name brands because I was uncomfortable doing it, which was probably too much. So just try to avoid getting them at all. And if you start to get a couple, I would pay a lot more attention because you might be you might be on edge of at least starting to have like a 3-day or a 7-day suspension.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, for those that know what a Vero is, eBay
Yes.
has a list of items you can and cannot sell on eBay, and certain brands are brand protected. So that's what we're referring to. Go ahead, Don.
Yes.
We've basically been overly cautious to not list certain things. We've been very lucky to not get any. So if you are, you definitely need to check what you're listing, because I mean it could
I mean,
go
there's
bad
some
if you
stuff
don't.
that a lot of people know, like Velcro. Don't ever use the word Velcro. Everybody's talked about
Looking
that
laugh.
a
Onesie.
1,000 times. Onesie, don't say onesie. That's trademarked. There's a lot of things you'll learn just through doing
Beach
eBay.
body.
Beach
Like
body.
beach body stuff, yeah. But
American Arbitrage, I will Vero you 100% if you use my name.
So from my understanding is you can get as many Veros as possible and not get in trouble if they're from different companies. When you start getting in trouble is when your Vero comes from the same company more than once. That's my understanding on it. I could be wrong on that, but so like eBay has one, like it gives you a little slap on the, hey, you can't do that, one of those. But once you list that item more than once, or that's when you start getting in trouble. So just be very careful. So my rule of thumb is, if I ever get a Vero, and I've gotten Veros in the past for certain items, for not being able to list them on there, I just don't relist items from that company. Like Monster Energy is one of them. Like Monster is one of them. Was that one you said?
Red Bull too. They don't like you
Red
selling
Bull.
their merchandise at all.
Yeah, their merchandise, because they do it for giveaways. It's not meant to be sold.
Yeah, it's like for the racers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Kevin got stolen from Harley because he said that he put Harley patch and referring to some Harley vest or something like that, because it had a Harley patch on it, but wasn't an official Harley item. So he got a Vero for that. So you just got to be very careful. And honestly, I just relist that item on other platforms. If I get popped or something like that, like a lot of people, like a lot of like the workout DVDs, like Beachbody and stuff like that, you weren't allowed to list because I think was it Beachbody? What was the other one? I forget the other one was whatever, I don't know, whatever.
P90X.
P90X. Yeah, you were obviously.
Yeah.
I was super into that, obviously.
And when I say this, guys, if you guys go on eBay right now, you'll see these items for sale. They just haven't been flagged. And you'll see sold comps for these items that have been shipped and people have got paid off them, no issue at all. But you just got to be very careful. So if you do get a Vero, just take the item and list in Mercari, Poshmark, and one of these other platforms.
Exactly.
All right. My tattoo is driving me crazy. So if I look like a crazy person, it's friggin' itching. And that's what I'm doing. So if you missed it last week, I got some color finally. I go back November 2nd to get some more, and it's going to get more and more painful from here out as he does the filling in. So it'll probably be worse next time. Anyway, so that's why I look like a crazy person over here, because it's driving me up the wall tonight, and I didn't bring any lotion out here. Rod said it perfectly. The big thing is not repeating the same brand. So I just want to emphasize that to you. If they give you a warning the first time, they're not going to do anything but give you the warning. But if you get it on that same brand again, that's when you're going to get slapped. So be very. Listen, if you read the Vero list, you will never sell on eBay again. That's all I'm going to say. It will scare the hell out of you because almost everything is there. But what you have to do is you have to click into each little thing and read it, and it'll say you can't say it's new with a warranty. There are just these tiny little caveats. I don't recommend reading it. That's what I'll say. Or I think you'll scare yourself and never want to sell on eBay.
I found Karen with the C comment, by the way.
Oh yeah, pop it up.
That's the first one.
That's the first one, and then she finished. So put the second part. So she keeps thinking that kind of thing doesn't happen to her, so it must be a fake. How often do you take chances as far as designer bags and stuff like that being real, and what's the best and worst things that you feel like you purchased? Do I have example? Oh no, I gave my examples away.
You can, I think there's sites like the Real, or there's a couple different verification sites you could try out, that'll check within reason the authenticity of an item. Typically, Don will tell you this, if I'm ever even questioning an item, whether it's authentic, I won't get it. And if we did get it, I wouldn't put it on eBay if I was worried. If I felt like it's probably real, but I'm not 100% sure, I probably would put it on Mercari or Poshmark or somewhere where the policy isn't as intense as eBay. But in general, it's tough. I stay away from that stuff. I like if something says coach or something like that to me, I don't buy it, even if it's real. And that's probably a mistake on my end. You can become an expert on that and feel comfortable over time. It's just something I haven't invested time in.
I agree. We pretty much stay away something if we don't know. If we feel like we don't know enough about the item or the brand, we don't want to take a chance putting it on eBay. If it's something I feel like we want to learn more about, we would, and then take a chance with better knowledge. But as of right now, we pretty much stay away from most.
You feel pretty good about Dooney and Burke.
Because
studied that
I've
a little.
educated myself. So if you're educated on it, or you see one and you think, you know what, I need to find out whether this is real or fake. Well, I'm going to watch videos. I'm going to learn everything I can. I'm going to read up on it. Then you want to take a chance when you find one again. You're probably better off. But if you don't know anything about it, because I see that coach stuff all the time around here and everything, we just do not touch it. We don't want to take a chance. But if you educate yourself, then maybe you start taking chances.
Tons of knockoff stuff in Vegas.
Oh, everywhere in Vegas.
So
yeah, I would think it's higher in Vegas, right?
Like,
oh yeah.
Certain places like LA, New York, Vegas, Miami, you're gonna have probably a higher, for like knockoffs. But I would say one of the things when I'm out sourcing, if I find an item, if it's like a designer bag and I can get it for like super cheap and I think that it has potential to be real, I'll take the chance and buy it because, like Don said, it's very important to help start educating yourself. So the best way to learn is, just force feed yourself. Like literally pick it up, feel that purse, take it home, look at the stitching inside, get the feel, get the smell of it, because by touching it, by feeling it, by having it in front of you, pull up videos, watching it, match up the serial numbers on it, take those steps to go through, help educate yourself. Now, when I pick up, I had no idea about fake jerseys. Now I can spot a fake jersey from a mile away because I help educate myself. Look at the stitching, look at those little things, because these are things that are going to separate you from other resellers and help you level up your game. Very important. So especially now, if this is just a one-off time that you found it, maybe pick it up and then go in Facebook groups, post pictures of it. There's Facebook groups just for coach, just for purses. There's a lot of stuff like that. So there's a lot of resources out there. Find other resellers locally in your area. Take it to meetups. Go, find another seller selling it. Hey, if they think it's real, maybe just flip it to that seller and then you make a small profit and then allow them to make a profit on top of it. You don't always have to sell to the end user. So if you're worried about jeopardizing your eBay account, your online accounts, find people local that do sell these things. And if you do pick them up, you can bring them to them and they can help you authenticate them. And then you can help you learn. But also, too, you might be able to have a way to flip it to them and still make a profit and then move on from it.
I would just say, remember, being able to sell on eBay is more valuable than a singular sale you may make on an item. So if it's something you think that can get you in trouble and possibly get you, at some point kicked off if you do it enough, I would just stay away from it. An active, healthy eBay account's worth more than a singular sale.
Yeah, I agree with everybody. I don't think I would pay to authenticate $100 purse because it costs you about $30 to authenticate it. You could go in a Facebook group too. I bet there's a Michael Kors Facebook group and post pictures, and people are normally more than willing to help. And Chris is making a good point. Rachel Strickland does have a lot of videos on purses. Rachel is a good friend of mine. She's been on here with us before. She's really, really good at that. But you could, like I said, you could post the pictures, and people that have the knowledge are normally more than willing to share. They'll be like, oh, this is fake because the stitching doesn't line up, or the interior on real ones are this color, or they know their stuff. So I wouldn't pay to authenticate one. I would reach out in one of the groups or watch videos like everybody suggested.
But it's worth taking the extra time, picking them up, and just find out.
You see them a lot, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because if I find one every 2 years, to me, that's a waste of time, Now, if I was in Vegas or Miami where I am seeing them all the time, then I think it would be worth it, But for me, I might see them once a year.
And also too, when you're at yard sales, for example, one of my last videos, I picked up a Coach purse and a Michael Kors purse, and there's proper ways you can ask the sellers too. Say, hey, what's the backstory on this? I'm not asking them if it's fake. I ask them, hey, what's the backstory? And then she's like, oh, I bought this when I was in Nashville at the coat store. And then, hey, do you have the paperwork that goes with it? Do you have the original box?
receipt?
Do you have the
box,
dust?
yeah.
So there's ways to like work your way around and not ask them, hey, is this fake? Because you don't want to offend people and say, hey, are you buying fake purses?
Right.
But, hey, what's the backstory behind this? And they'll tell you like, oh, I bought this when I was in New York on a trip at the coat store, or I have people say, oh, you know what? I bought that when I was in China. Yeah, so that was fake.
Straight up
okay, well, thanks for letting me know. And I just thanked them for letting me know, so I didn't buy it. So there's ways that you guys can properly ask people in a polite way without saying it's actually fake.
All right. Flippin' Freetown says, did eBay change the seller protection from returning shipping when someone doesn't like an item and wants to return it?
I do not know the answer to that.
I don't know the answer to that either.
Depends on your shipping. It depends on your shipping policy. So if you put in there that buyer pays return shipping, if the buyer clicks on the reason to return shipping because they do not like it or want to return it, then the buyer will have to pay shipping. But if the buyer puts in shipping saying that the item is broken or the item is not described as, as described in the description, then you'll have to pay for return shipping. So just depends on how the buyer opens up the return claim.
We pay for return shipping on everything for any reason. So
I had one today and they said that a button looked like it was coming off. It was not off. And they said that it was too big. We had measurements and it was not app measurements. It was with a tape measure. So they were definitely accurate. I did not return the shipping because it was like, they're saying the size wasn't right. I had the measurements. They actually wrote me and asked about it. I told them they can ask eBay for the return shipping. And I left it at that. I wasn't going to say like, oh, you're saying a button is loose and did you pay attention to the tape measure that was in the pictures, which is what I wanted to say, right? Like I really did, but I didn't. I just said, hey, you can ask eBay. So to my knowledge, they have not changed it because I had the option and did not give that shipping back. Michelle, how do you block someone on eBay? On your seller hub, there's actually a quick link. Hold on, I'm looking.
It's actually
so
easier.
On your shortcuts, it says block bidders.
Yeah, if you can't find that, just type in eBay on Google how to block an eBay bidder, and it'll literally give you a direct link to it too.
All right. Cadman watching wants to know, what is the best way to create a logo for your store?
When we initially did logo stuff, we went on Fiverr, like Fiverr.com, told them what we wanted, and then they'll send you different, there's also like different pictures and you can approve them. There's also people in the community that do it. Just Be Crafting, I think, does logos for a lot of people. So you kind of get to know people in the community and they'll do it. But Fiverr worked for us, I think. And then Dave, ADH Dave did Dawn's logo. So
yeah, you can use AI programs.
AI and Midjourney.
Canva. I use Canva for all my thumbnails for YouTube and stuff like that. It's super easy. They already have pre-made templates that you can go in there and just kind of, maybe just make something up real fast until you get something that you do want. But Fiverr is really good. If you guys don't know, Fiverr is a website that you can just hire freelance and for like everything from editing to graphic design, and they're usually pretty cheap.
Yeah, so I used Fiverr for quite a bit in the beginning as well. Now I'm comfortable enough with Canva that like most of my stuff, I just do it. But Fiverr is a really good place. And like Cary was saying too, you could reach out and we just put this question up here. So if there's anybody that does logos, let them know in the chat. But I like Fiverr. And Katie Reeds, my good friend Katie Reeds, her sister is a graphic designer and she did my logo for me. So again, you might reach out to friends. You never really it's funny the things your friends do that you don't know they do, they have all these little side hustles. So you might want to reach out to your friends as well. All right. Miss Sohila has 2 questions. Shipping oversized items, will that automatically be added to the total before the buyer pays? And she's saying because we buy the shipping after the buyer pays. And how do you ship big art?
So if you're shipping over, so if you have like calculated shipping on your eBay listings, is that what they're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you have calculated, then it would calculate based on the dimensions. And one thing, like we've done art before, I don't do a ton of it, but we take it into a place like FedEx and have that. We just actually just bake that into the price of shipping. So we'll pay whatever it is, $30 for the box, and for them to box it up on top of what the shipping cost is. I believe they like guarantee it too that it will arrive safely. That's what I do just for a time saver. So basically, I wouldn't want to do a piece of art that wasn't worth a certain amount of money because of the hassle that it is. But there's boxes, particular boxes you could buy on Amazon, and you could do it yourself as well.
Yeah, we don't ever do calculated shipping. We just do a flat rate. I figure out, if it's a really big, because I've shipped some really big pieces of glass and stuff like that, and I've had to Frankenstein boxes together myself. I'll just pretty much from the weight and think of the farthest distance away, and I'll put $50 shipping for like a carboy or something like that. And of course, sometimes it doesn't even cost that. It's like $30, and I just keep the 20. But
yeah, Dawn's famous for that.
I'm pretty good at that.
Keep the 20.
Dawn's famous for that.
It's just, and then if it is something expensive, like we have done that, we've gone and paid. But we do put that in the price of the item because there are some things I don't even want to ship if it is a really expensive piece of furniture or art that we have shipped before.
So one trick, if you guys do use calculated shipping and then you guys want to take it to FedEx, stuff like that, there is a spot on eBay. You can add a handling fee. So you can always put in like a $20 or $30 handling fee on top of the calculated shipping. So that way, if you're going to take it to a place, just to factor that into your actual cost. For me, if the ship, I would ship the item myself. I wouldn't take it to a place. One trick I've learned over the years is buying pool noodles. Cut the pool noodles in half, and you put those over the edges of any type of frame. It works great. I've done that. I use TV boxes. I use a lot of other supplies to ship big art items or big items like that in the past, but I try to stay away from those. Kat will give you a better explanation because she shipped a ton of art in the past.
Yeah, we do quite a few art items. And I tend to overestimate a little bit. I'll overestimate, and unless they ask me specifically for a refund, I do not give them one because it takes time to pack up art. So I typically will put like 6 inches of width. Most of the TV boxes I think are 6, sometimes 8. And then we'll cut them down as small as we can. So for art, you can use pool noodles to put around the edges. We always, if it has glass, I tape cardboard over it. And you can also put painter's tape to the glass in case it does shatter so it doesn't go everywhere. And a lot of bubble wrap. All right. Brittany says, an international sale and the buyer wants a partial refund. I told them to open a return for a refund and they'd rather settle for a partial. So her question is, how do you do partial refunds for international sales, or would you just have them open a return and let eBay take over?
I think eBay would handle most returns for eBay international shipping. Honestly, we have not shipped internationally on eBay in years. I don't know why. We just kind of stopped doing it. No particular reason. But I think eBay takes care of any returns once it leaves the international shipping program. Is that what we're talking about? Or
yeah,
if we ship it ourselves to the country, then I guess partial refunds could be a good tactic to not have to deal with the return shipping costs and stuff.
I would let eBay take care of it. We have sold some things that have gone to if you're talking about going to the eBay place and then they ship it internationally for you. Cary does it. I do the shipping. We have sold some, and we really haven't had an issue with the international stuff. I think we did one time, and eBay took care of it for us.
Yeah, so eBay handles, once the item is received to the international shipping hub, once eBay handles it and ships it out for you, they handle any issues with the item. I don't give partial refunds out to buyers. So if that item is broken, the item is anything, just tell the buyer that eBay, because the item was shipped to the international shipping hub, you just need to open a claim on eBay, and eBay should take care of it. I'm not sure the reason why they're asking for a partial refund on here. I don't know if the item was broken or what the issue is with the item, but I had an item got shipped. It was broken, got broken in shipping, and eBay took care of it. They refunded the buyer, and the item was $450. They refunded the buyer, and they let me keep my money. So it wasn't my fault on it. Just the international shipping gods wanted to play soccer with my package, and unfortunately, it arrived broken. So.
Yeah, I don't do partial for international. And if I think they're trying to scam me, which I have a couple of times, I will call them out and tell them to return it. And normally they drop it at that point. They're like, they disappear. But if it was actually broken, like Rod said, the eBay international shipping should take over and should pay for that. And you shouldn't have to worry about it. John, more income. He's been a member for 49 months, guys, over 4 years. How amazing is that? John is absolutely amazing. And I'm glad to see you in here. I know you don't have a chance a lot, but super happy to have you. And he said, hit the thumbs up and join the Flippin' Pod, which he has been a member 4 years. That's so crazy to me. So guys, in December, I have been on YouTube for 5 years. This podcast has been going on for well over 4 years. Every Tuesday, we've missed, I think, maybe 3 or 4. So 1 a year we've missed. One, me and Rod were in Phoenix speaking at a conference. One, I thought I was dying. I was so sick. And then we had, I think we missed one. We missed one from the hurricane, I think, one from Helene. Yes, because power was out.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think but when Rod and I were in Phoenix, Yvonne and Crazy Lamp Lady took over and ran the podcast for us while we were there. So the podcast was still here, just we weren't. But thank you so much, John. I really, really appreciate you. All right. Gretchen wants to know, is Worthpoint pulling from eBay all time sold or all selling platforms? So does anybody know? Like, I know where they're pulling from. If you don't, I can answer
They're pulling from auction houses as well. Yeah, so they're pulling from all over the internet, as far as I understand. And in real life, too, outside of the internet, like Pristine Auction or Heritage and stuff like that, I believe.
Yep. You're correct. It does pull from auction houses and from eBay. It's not all time. It's only 10 years of historic data.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think they only pull from like a few categories. So like collectibles, antiques, vintage. So I found stuff on eBay sold that is not on Worthpoint. So that is kind of a detriment to Worthpoint, just so you guys know. So like if it's in something that's not a more collectible category, then it might not be there. But they also pull from the major auction sites like CT Bids. I've seen a lot of different auction houses. They pull from a ton of different auction houses. When I'm looking at my comps, I try to only look at eBay. I would advise that, because most of the time we can get stuff on online estate auctions way cheaper than we can on eBay. So I would advise really paying attention to what is eBay and what is not. This is a fun question. So Susan wants to know, do we all just do eBay? I know the answer to that, but why don't we tell her exactly what we do?
What we do. Yes, indeed. We eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, Dibdit, Commons. I sold a pretty big card on Golden Auction a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah. How much was that?
$34,000. That was insane. So like there's all sorts. This is the really cool thing about modern reselling, in my opinion. When I started 10 plus years ago, it was like eBay, Amazon a little bit, and then local. Like you could do a flea market or garage sale. Now there are countless. You could sell on Bonanza if you're really, really hard up, I guess. But I'm just playing. I'm just teasing Bonanza users. But there's all sorts.
Bonanza. I know
he does own Bonanza. Yeah. You could. The thing is, I wouldn't suggest just selling on eBay. I would suggest focusing on one site, whatever that is. Maybe eBay being your primary site, but I would never put all my eggs in one basket, especially in this day and age when it's not necessary.
Yeah, we do eBay, Whatnot, Dibdit, Mercari, Poshmark. Was that Depop?
Oh yeah, we did Depop.
You could do Facebook Marketplace. You could do to any of
There's a
that
lot.
stuff. But my favorite thing is Whatnot and eBay.
Same.
We're just getting dibbed it going, so that will
Yeah,
work.
But I
My
agree.
dog's right here. Sorry.
No, you're fine. eBay is going to be my number one platform that I do sell on. That's, I love eBay. I'll be eBay ride or die to the end.
Yeah.
But I do cross list now. A lot of us, when we do sell on these other platforms, we're cross listing using programs that help us do that. But I do sell on Poshmark, I do sell on Cary, and I do sell on Whatnot. I do Whatnot Lives. Whatnot also has a static marketplace, which I highly recommend you guys do try because I sell a ton.
I sold something yesterday on there. They have anytime auctions, which are like a standard eBay classical auction, which I sell stuff every day on.
I think now for the standard for the like live auctions on there though, it has to be certain categories like sports cards. You do sports cards in that category.
Yeah, so sports cards is particular, so it's a little different than most.
And then from when it comes to live selling, I do live selling on Whatnot. I also do live selling in Dibbit. I do sell on Commons, wholesale lots on there. But then locally, I sell on Facebook Marketplace. I'll sell an OfferUp sometimes. I have taken items to a live auction house. I do that occasionally. That's when I'm just trying to clear out merchandise in my area. I also resell to other resellers in my area. So when I have an overabundance of merchandise, I will reach out to other resellers. Yeah, I've sold the cat. I sold the cat multiple times. I sold to other people in the Tampa Bay area because I'm very good at networking and I get more merchandise than I can handle myself. I'm a one-man show. So sometimes I'll buy it and I'll either I just don't want to deal with it, so I'll sell it to the cat like at cost, or sometimes I'll flip it to other resellers and I'll make a small profit, or leave them a lot of meat on the bone. So the best thing about reselling is you have to adapt, you have to keep changing, you have to be able to try different things.
Adaptation, I love it.
For you, buddy.
And you have to put the time in where the money is. So for a year, I put all my time into Whatnot because that's where the money was. But then the money fell away from Whatnot and I went right back to eBay. So for me to answer this, I sell on eBay, I sell on Poshmark, I sell on Cary. I just started selling on Commons. I plan, and somebody's asking, is Commons the same as District? Commons is a district platform. Yes, is the answer to that. So I just listed lots on Commons. We do intend on selling resell lots for you guys because we get stuff for $1 here. We get good clothes. And instead of driving my employee crazy, I'm going to start lotting a lot of it up for you. So you can be driven crazy listing clothes. And we will possibly start trying Whatnot again. I'm kind of on the fence about that, but yeah, so if you're doing it full time, you have to have your hand in multiple pots. Because a lot of times one's not going to be performing, the other will. And again, you have to put your time where the money is. When the money was on Whatnot, my time was on Whatnot. As soon as it started falling off, my time went back to eBay. And right now my time is on eBay. Now, if Commons starts going crazy, I'll start going thrifting all the time to find you guys wholesale lots. I won't lie. If that's where the money's at, I'll follow it because that's what I do, right? Like I'm going to follow where the money is. Cadman watching. Does anybody know? They said their store says they have international shipping on, but they keep getting a message to become top rated. They need to turn it on, but it is on. I don't know if anybody knows.
I don't know.
Contact eBay. Probably a glitch.
Yeah, I don't know. JP is asking, are there restrictions or rules pertaining to selling pocket knives? I don't think in the U.S., but some countries don't allow it. I do know that.
So
I don't know if anybody knows anything else.
There's two platforms that you can actually sell pocket knives on that you have no issues. It's going to be eBay and Whatnot. You can't sell them on Cary. You can't sell them on Poshmark. You can't sell them on those other platforms. Because I've cross-listed pocket knives across the board.
Cary will slap you so hard and so fast, it's not funny.
Cary and Poshmark took those suckers down super fast. Whatnot actually, believe it or not, Whatnot actually ran a 2-day promoted event for knives. So they do allow us selling knives in there, so does eBay.
All right. Has anyone on the panel or in the chat tried the free Cary cross-listing?
Oh,
haven't,
I
no.
didn't even know.
I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah, they have a free cross-listing service now. I have not tried it.
Yeah, I use Vendu, and she uses List Perfectly. So
Yeah, I have not. What part of Florida are Cary and Dawn moving to?
The Palm Coast area, so northeast. Like Dave, right by Dave, like 20 minutes.
They're
St.
moving in with
Augustine.
Dave.
Pretty much, yeah. We're gonna live in his eBay room. We're gonna just cover ourselves in fugglers and just sleep there.
All right. Does anybody know how you print an invoice on District? I never print invoices on anything, so I'm the
Me
worst
either.
person to ask about this.
That's a good question, though. I don't know if they have like a way to do that. It's just the label that you can print through them. So that's a good question, though. The District is the cool thing. Like Kat said earlier, District is very receptive to people giving them ideas or critiques. So if that's something that you want to have happen, I'm sure they just need to be told and they could figure it out. But I don't know if they have a way to do that.
I would say I highly recommend everyone checking out District right now
It is
because
awesome.
it's small enough. It's small enough
And
where
it's
you can get
still on the ground level,
Yeah.
I feel like. So.
it's small enough where you can get on there and get a lot of good customer service and interact with people, but it's still big enough that you can still make sales and make it worth your time.
Yeah. I don't know if anybody knows this. Do you know what your average cost of supplies and packaging you spend a month or yearly?
Oh wow, I'd have to look, but yeah, it's a bit. What about you, Rod? Do you have an idea?
No, I don't. To be honest with you, I literally order my supplies in bulk, and it's going to be as needed. I would say ever since I started doing lives on like Whatnot and Dibbit, my supplies have gone through the roof because I'm shipping out, thousands more items a year than what I previously was doing eBay.
Yeah. I know on bubble wrap, I spend about $200 a month. And I would say on boxes, probably close to the same, about 200. And you have to figure between the platforms, we're running at 15,000-ish in sales a month, and we're spending $400. I don't think that's too bad. And we use, of course, our free eBay shipping coupon. We only have 2 more questions, so I want to get them all. Have you had someone try and request a refund because the item didn't work, but you had untested in the description and the title?
Probably. I've heard everything over the course of the last 10 plus years. But here's the thing. If this is the simple truth about eBay, it doesn't matter what you put in your listing. If a buyer wants a refund, they're going to get one on eBay. They're going to have to return it to you. That's what we always say.
Yeah.
We accept return, even if you put no returns on your listings. It doesn't matter. eBay's not going to honor that. So I just say we accept returns for any reason. If you said it was untested, you have nothing else to say, and then they have to return it to get the refund. And more than half the time, they never bother, and they just because a lot of times people are just trained to do that to see if they can get a discount or maybe they might have accidentally just made a mistake. Then they should return the item. It's that simple. So
Yeah, we just return it. We have refunds for any reason, so we make them return it every time. I don't do partials. I don't care if they say it's broke. You're going to ship it back to me broke, and then I'll give you a refund. I want every item back. I call their bluff, and it works because I'd say at least 4 out of 10 times they're lying. But anytime we ever give a refund, I want an item back no matter what.
Yeah, so the difference between Cary and Dawn and like me, they have free returns on all their items. So, they're going to, anytime you open up anything, you get returned. For me, I put on buyer pays return shipping unless it's me. So if I put in the description, it's untested and in the title and stuff like that, if the buyer returned it because the thing was and opened a claim on eBay against that, I can fight that with eBay, say, hey, it was in the description. I may win that dispute on eBay. But sometimes I would tell you, 9 out of 10 times buyers don't read. They just look at the picture. And I made a mistake myself. I bought items on eBay and just not fully read the description or just saw the picture and I bought it and it was my fault. So I've had this happen before. I just contacted the buyer and said, hey, you may just misread this, or you may not have seen it in the description, but in the description and in the title, it does say this, that we're selling the item is untested and it was selling as is. And the buyers reached out to me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I misread. That's my mistake," and that was it. So I still offer the buyer a refund. I'm going to say you can still return the item if you want. You just have to pay for return shipping.
Yeah, I agree. The crazy thing is that we had somebody, and it was on electronic. I'm like, Carrie, I don't like testing stuff. Like, I tend to stay away from electronics because of that. But if I see them cheap and I'm like, I think this is worth a lot, I'll still pick them up. I still don't test them. So I do put untested. So I don't lie and say the thing works. I say I haven't tested it. We had one come back for this, and we did tell them they had to open a return. The box was never friggin' open. I don't know if they found one cheaper or what the heck happened, but we could tell like our tape was never cut. So, you know, sometimes people are crappy. So definitely have them return it. If you don't, like, I have free 30-day shipping returns. So that's on me, and it sucks because a lot of electronics are heavy. But like Rod said, definitely if you don't, you can make them pay return shipping. And like for me, I didn't return their original shipping on that one either. All right, last question. Look, and it's 9:58. Any tips for booksellers?
I mean, I've definitely sold a lot of books in the time that I've been a reseller. I mean, it's just general stuff that if you're a bookseller, you probably already know. Look out for first editions, you know, learn your conditioning. And then one thing I like to do, like if I go to an estate sale in particular, and I've done this many times in the past, is find like books for lots. Like we once bought out this one guy who had a ton of books, and it was a lot of military stuff. So I'd get like 3 or 4, you know, books from the Pacific theater of World War II. I would break it down into very specific historical eras, and then I would sell them, and I would get a premium because, you know, somebody who's very interested in that subset of history would get into it. So lotting has been fairly effective for getting rid of maybe books that aren't in and of themselves super valuable, but if you creatively lot them up, they have some value.
I don't have any. I don't touch books.
So I say that I feel like everyone should learn books. And the reason for that is if I go to a yard sale at 9 o'clock in the morning, or if I go there 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I will always find DVDs, CDs, and books still there because a lot of people pass them up, and you can actually buy them in bulk lots for super cheap at yard sales. And I make an absolute killing on them. And just like Carrie said, similar authors, I lot those together. You know, if it's a bunch of hard books, do really well. Sci-fi does really well. Children books in giant lots. If it's the same type of, like, it's like all Disney children books or like Captain Underpants or whatever it is, you know, I sell those in giant lots all the time. But you usually can buy those for like 10 cents on the dollar at yard sales, and I usually buy them in big lots. So,
Sorry, bedtime.
Putting Cat to sleep over here.
I got all
My
these
tip-
animals surrounding me.
Kitty, kitty, kitty. So I would say, watch my good friend Katie Reads. She specializes in books. That is her thing. She is absolutely amazing. Make sure you subscribe. Any of you that are interested in selling books, please check out Katie Reads. It's Katey Reads. And for me, I look for like hobbies and specialized stuff. Like I found a bunch of scuba diving books one time. I did very, very well with them. I don't pick up a lot of books, but I'll pick up specialized. Also like some gun books and weapon books I've done well with. As far as cookbooks, the majority of them are overproduced and not going to be worth much, but there are rare ones. Maybe I'm going to write that down. That would be a good research video. That would be a really good research video.
Bibles would be a good research video because I have sold a ton
Oh, it
of
would.
Bible.
You're right.
Yeah, because Bible, anytime you're out, especially, I would say the best thing to pick up at church sales is Bibles and religious books because some Bibles can bring really good money. So be on the lookout for those.
All right. I am going to make Carrie big, and then Dawn, and then Rod and I will tell you what we have got going on and who will be on next week. So here is Carrie.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to follow more of what I do, I'm on American Arbitrage and American Arbitrage Cards. I'm a lot more active on my card channel, so if you want to learn more about flipping sports cards, I would say if there's one thing that I am an expert in, it's that. Everything else I dabble in, but I love sports cards and flipping. So you can check me out anywhere, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever. The Home Depot app, as I always say.
All the
You can find
places.
all of them.
Home Depot.
All of them.
Pinterest. All right,
Pinterest,
here's
yes,
Dawn.
Pinterest, please.
Let's see. We're moving to Florida, so we'll be changing up things. I do mostly thrift in here, so I'm hoping to get into the flea markets and the yard sales there. I'll be starting my long form on YouTube. Right now, I'm only doing shorts, and I haven't done them for a while. But you can watch me on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And you'll always see me in Cary's American Arbitrage YouTubes, of course.
Finding all the good
Perfect.
stuff.
Rod, what's going on?
Well, you guys can find me. I'm picking and punching. I'm dropping a new video tomorrow, and then I'm flipping and punching. I'll be dropping a new video on Thursday. And then you can watch my card channel, Picking and Punching Cards, which that's how Cary learned everything he learns about cards on that channel.
Exactly.
So make sure you check that out.
Over the years, sports.
You know,
Yes.
Yeah. So, but other than that, and then I had to take some time away from doing live selling here, just kind of get back in after the hurricanes here with everything going on. But I will be starting to do some more whatnots here probably next week, and hopefully do another tidbit once Cary moves to Florida. We'll be doing some more live stuff together and a lot more in-person stuff too. So, and Dawn as well. I'm excited.
All right, so next week we will have Thrift Shop Hustler. He has not been on in years, guys. Thrift Shop Hustler will be on in Resale Mania next week, so that's who we're going to have next week. I just put in my video. I put out a thrifting video. It had been a week. I was bad. I'm trying to get them up more often, I promise. Tomorrow is going to be a fun research video. It's going to be belt buckles. So keep an eye out for that tomorrow on here. And thank you guys for being here. Cary, Dawn, thank you for coming on again.
Thank
Rod,
you.
for continuing
For
to show
showing
up.
up.
Yes, and the kitty cat, for sure. We appreciate you guys. Definitely check out their channels and check them out on social media. And we will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.